Yo people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for your Brighton versus Chelsea preview. This game, it should be scintillating, it should be tantalizing, it should be mouth-watering, it should be televised, it should be live, it should be everything. It's got so many subplots to it, so much little facets to the match. Old managers, coaching staff, players that potentially we're interested in. The fans, the crowd, everything. It's going to be a mad one. And Brighton are a very good team as well. Yes, they've lost their last two fixtures, but they played well in those fixtures and they were unfortunate in ways to come away with nothing. And we know they're a good team. That's why we took their manager, because they are a good team, because they have good players. They have good technical, versatile players. It's going to be a very, very different game, much more difficult game, I feel, to the game against Salzburg, but we should be taking some confidence from that fixture. We should be coming into this game with a little bit more confidence with those attackers, having those little bits of intricate play down that left, a little bit of build up, nice goals and combinations that were scored and that were created. So for me, we've got an opposition analysis with Ben, special guest Ben. He was on All You Can Eat Chelsea prior when we hired Potter. He's up in the next segment, so we can really dig deep into this Brighton team and understand the differences, the similarities to what they used to do, and some of the players to look out for. And then I'm going to come back and I'll give you my team, which was taking a long time for me to figure out, but I finally think I've got the team that I want to put out there personally. So I'll see you in the next segment.
Yo, welcome back to Ben on the channel. Second time, obviously. You guys absolutely loved him last time.
Yeah,
brought us the fantastic analysis. Bro, how you doing?
Yeah, really good, really good. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Obviously, yeah, shout out to your audience, they're incredible. The comments were nuts. I was blown away. So they're obviously really intelligent, incredible people, very smart, good looking people that you've got in your audience. So yeah,
thank you.
Shout out to all of them.
Yeah, honestly, did you know what? When we have a special guest, they do treat them very well, and your analysis was spot on. And for me, it's good because now I'm even more confused going into this game. As we said off air, we've kind of ripped your club apart structure wise. We took a lot of stuff, and then the last two games I was looking at as well. I mean, you guys had more possession than Man City in the Etihad, which is ridiculous. And then the game before, if it wasn't for Raya, you would have probably got something out of the game, maybe even a win. He was ridiculously good. And I just don't know what to expect from you guys. I don't know what formation. You've gone from a 4-4-2 sometimes to a 3, and Lallana's back. And just, I mean, talk to me about how you guys have been playing under your new manager. What is there any striking differences from Graham Potter? Is it still the Potter team kind of embedded in this team?
Yeah, there's really not a lot of differences I can tell anyway. So obviously his first game was against Liverpool, and then we went 2-0 up against Liverpool at Anfield. And we're like, oh my God, we're winning a lot again. We're still going. And obviously they come back and whatever, but that was a great performance. So there's a lot of positives from that. And yeah, the immediate reaction was there's not much difference. I think maybe we're a bit more direct, looked a bit more shaky in defence, but that might just be down to the individuals rather than De Zerbi's system and them getting used to it. I mean, our centre-backs came out, Adam Webster and Lewis Dunk said they absolutely love it because they still get on the ball, still do everything they want to do. So there really isn't that too many differences. Which is why it'll be an interesting game on Saturday, because it'll be Potterball versus Potterball with which is what a commentator said, with a bit, what I think he said, like 5 shots of espresso is how he described it under Zerbi. So it should be a really good game. Like if it's not, then I have no idea what we've witnessed.
I don't know how you guys could get any more direct. That's the thing. That worries me. Worries me greatly. It's mad. I mean, you've got some really talented players, man. You know, Trossard has been in ridiculous form on that left hand side, cutting in. It looks like he's both footed from what I can see. I've seen him score so many goals this season, and I can't really tell the difference between, like, you know, when you can see a player scuffs the ball with one foot and it's not as natural. I can't see that with Trossard at the moment. And I'm worried about our right-hand side because we don't have Reece James. And it's making me very confused and perplexed whether we go with the 3 at the back and maybe we go over Loftus-Cheek at a right wing back, or do we go with the 3 at the back and maybe even go over Gallagher in a right side 8 position like we did against Salzburg and really push the wing back up and try and pin your wing backs, your wing backs back? Or do we just go with Azpilicueta? Like, from what you've watched, do you guys ever kind of almost retreat and relax? So is there any chance of us really pushing you back into a 5, or do you guys just constantly press from the front? Are you very aggressive with your press? What can we expect there?
It's still pretty aggressive. I think the only time I can remember us being like pinned back was in the first half against Man City. And I'm pretty sure we had like 5 at the back, I think, but we were still bringing the game to them. So there's no chance that we're going to be sitting back and trying to grind out a draw against you guys at all. So we're still going to go for it. And I imagine, just like possible, the formation will change here and there every 10 minutes or whatever. The difference between Potter and De Zerbi, what I've noticed so far, is when we played Spurs, De Zerbi recognised a problem but didn't make a change straight away. He waited until quite late into the game until Harry Kane scored to make the change. Whereas Potter, like we saw in your more recent game in the Premier League, dragged off Cucurella in 35 minutes, which is something De Zerbi didn't do. So Potter's a bit more brutal in that respect, which is something that maybe De Zerbi wants to learn a bit. It's just not rest on what you thought would work right, but just hold your hands up if you see something's wrong and drag someone off and deal with the consequences later.
Yeah, and maybe it's the fact that he's new, isn't it? And he's probably just getting to grips with the squad, and he doesn't want to, completely piss anybody off at the moment too early on. I mean, you guys, sometimes you play over front two. Sometimes you have a kind of a 4 in there with like 2 double pivot and then 2 ahead in the attacking midfield roles, which can outnumber opposition in midfield. And Tottenham, when you guys played them, they immediately knew about that potential overload and went with Bentancur, Højbjerg, and Basuma, and that obviously brings me, to whether we should try to pack the midfield and not let you guys completely overload us there, because I am worried a little bit about the press and how aggressive it is, and you guys kind of just taking over and dominating the middle of the park if we go with not enough players involved there. What's Caicedo been like? McAllister, Pascal Gross, are these guys still? Are they still as great as they were when Potter was in charge at the beginning of the season? Has their roles changed? Is McAllister still your kind of anchor? Is everything kind of still similar in that aspect? And Adam Lallana's back as well. I mean,
that's bad. Caicedo, McAllister still play really, really well. I think Pascal Gross has kind of dipped off a bit. I can't lie. Maybe it's just because he started off so well at the beginning of the season. But he's kind of tailed off a little bit. Sorry. And Lallana came back, and De Zerbi said it in his press conference before the game. He was saying Lallana will be back in the next game. So he gave away one of his tactics there, but saying that he would come back. And he was good. I really like Lallana still. He's still got a bit about him. I don't know if you saw him like barge into Hairline, if you saw that clip. So he's still got a bit of feistiness about him. I made a joke that I'm surprised he didn't go down injured with a shoulder injury, but because he breaks very injury, that boy. Very injury prone. But no, I can't see any differences with the players. They're all still kicking on. McAllister's still playing that same role he was under Potter. It's all been pretty.
He just signed a new contract.
Signed a new contract. That's massive for us. That's a huge statement for us. But maybe Welbeck hasn't been doing as well in the new system. Whether that's it, he's definitely had some chances. He's not playing as well as he was under Potter, which is the only shame. He's Potter's left us in a bit of a mud there. We've only got Welbeck and Undav, and Potter and our new manager don't seem to like Undav. I think he's up for it. So
I think Graham Potter's probably one of the few managers that could really get those players leveled up to what they were at. And I think if you guys had if you guys had bought Ivan Toney from Peterborough and you had him, do you know what I mean? Now, then wow, do you know what I mean? What a team it would
different
be.
Different levels.
Another level completely. I think strikers has always been what Brighton has kind of maybe lacked in terms of like a top quality player up there. And obviously I'm guessing the centre backs are still splitting. You've got good ball players there, Dunk and Webster and everyone. So is there any like injury news, any team news? Because we've got a host of injuries. We've got Fofana out, James out, Kante out, Koulibaly's touch and go. Silva now seems to be touch and go as well. What about you guys? Is there any players that are missing that would usually be in the 11?
No, not that I could think of. Mitoma, who was kind of been coming on as a late substitute, he was injured in one of our recent games, but I can't remember what game it was. I think it was Brentford, actually. But he seems like he's back training at the moment, so he could feature. Otherwise, no, we've pretty much got our full squad again, which is great. We've been all right with injuries at in more recent times. Fortunately.
And obviously, because we were saying, how is this game not live, right? We got Fulham versus Everton, the late kickoff, and somehow we didn't make it because there's so much on this fixture.
Someone needs to get sacked at Sky. I can't lie.
100%. Like
someone needs to get it done.
Even if it wasn't live at the beginning of the season, I would not have been surprised. But as soon as you saw the sacking, you should have made that change and adjustment immediately. Do you know what I mean? So that's an L for them. But in terms of Potter's reception and all of that, because that's going to be a whole. It's the Amex as well. Former players, they got a point to prove. Bruno, the assistant manager's coming home. Do you know what I mean? Back to his hometown. What kind of atmosphere can we? Because I've been to Brighton. I've been to a Brighton game, Palace, and I know now I know there's rivalry. That was a problem. That was mad as well. That was a good fixture, man. It was a lot of the atmosphere.
It can get feisty down at the Amex.
It can.
Our fans can,
because it's a nice stadium. It looks lovely, but it can get a lovely
place to go.
It is.
Yeah. But on that, so like. I think all this week on Twitter, especially with the Paul Winstanley stuff. So you're coming for another one of our members of staff now. Like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, cool. Take everyone. You're going to pay for the fans now soon as well. We'll take a grand a game. We'll take. But no, honestly, on Twitter, building up to this game, it has been it's been feisty. It's been hostile. There's a lot of tweets, even like about Potter. So someone sent in a clip of this Bundesliga match where a centre back like ran into a manager, and there was like Lewis Dunk and Graham Potter in the 5th minute and all that sort of stuff. So the atmosphere on Twitter has been hostile. It's whether that will translate into the Amex with some of our older fans and people that probably have a bit more respect for Potter and Chelsea. But yeah, I think from what I've seen from the younger demographic of Brighton fans, it should be hostile. I was comparing it to Figo's return to the Camp Nou when he was at Real Madrid, pigs' heads on the floor, all that sort of stuff. People have been buying snakes from Amazon, like inflatable snakes.
No way.
So whether we see them, whether they get allowed in, because I don't know where you're going to put a snake. You might have to tie it around your body under your jacket or something. But I think it could be hostile, and that should make the game even better.
That surprises me because obviously he obviously done very well there, and he was there for a while.
Well, that's a good point, though, Matisse. I think it's more maybe directed a bit at him, but also at your new owner as well. The fact that he's
taking
everyone. Yeah. And obviously, fine. We were kind of over it, I think. But I think since it's Paul Winstanley stuff, our senior recruiter, I think that's added fuel to the fire even more. So the boos won't just be for Potter and co. It will be for Todd Bowley as well.
Yeah, it will be for the institution. It's a fair point. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be mad. I mean, in terms of Cucurella as well, you were saying about people getting hooked. It was him. Do you know what I mean? He is him, the one that is being hooked. I mean, he's playing left side centre back a lot for Chelsea, and it's a great time to ask you because you'll know him extremely well. And he seems to be playing left side centre back in a free a lot more for us than he did for you in terms of like just the ratio of games played to actual appearances and left side centre back. For you, he's more of a wing back most of the time, wasn't he? Or was it?
So I think he started off wing back at the beginning of the season, and then suddenly came into the left centre back role towards the end of the season, which is when we started doing really, really well actually. So that might be his new position because obviously it's hard to get rid of Ben Chilwell, who's obviously a great player still.
And he likes to play his wingers as well out there as well, isn't it? So yeah.
And even Raheem Sterling, I think it's funny that we're doing this like 10 games after we spoke previously. Like we were just imagining what Potter would do, but now we're actually seeing it. Like, people wouldn't have imagined Raheem Sterling playing wing back. It's not something you would imagine. So it's quite funny to see it actually happening now. So even Raheem Sterling, might see him playing wing back and Cucurella still playing centre back. That's the thing with Potter. You literally never know what he's going to do.
Bro, doing previews for Potter is an impossible task because I just don't know what he's going to do. I don't know what team he's playing, what formation, what system, what approach, whether it's counter-attacking or on the ball or off. I don't know what's going on. I'm winging it half the time. But it's very entertaining. Cucurella's have like an up and down start, but would you say the quality you've seen from him last season, you expect him to recover and still become a very integral player for Chelsea?
Yeah. I mean, he's going from a nice atmosphere in the Brighton changing room to a changing room that has, well, I was going to say egos, but bigger players, obviously. Players with more stature. I think it's a completely different environment for him, so it will take time for him to adapt to that. But I've no doubt that he will eventually get used to it. And I'm sure Potter and Bruno and Billy Reid and the list will go on. They'll help him fit in because they'll be familiar faces for him as well.
Yeah, exactly. At least he has that. Before we come to a close, I mean, I have to ask you as well for a score prediction. And I guess the danger man that I guess Chelsea should watch out for. I mean, if I hadn't have had you with me, I would have just gone Trossard immediately because this guy has just been ripping it up on that side. And I don't see I don't know, first of all, like what's happened, because I don't remember him doing this with this regularity before. But what would you give as a danger man, and what would be your score prediction, I guess, for this one?
Yeah, the only danger man is Trossard. Obviously, we've been having issues in front of goal recently. We had that XG run where what did we have? 54 shots, 18 on target, and 0 goals. That was prior to our most recent match, which is just Brighton of old. So we have been struggling in front of goal, apart from City when we did get one from Trossard. But Trossard's our only danger man. And this is me just literally sending good vibes to the universe. I hope that will come back to me. I'm going to say 1-0 Brighton, Trossard goal.
Damn, there you go. Wow, that's that. If that would sting,
it might be delusion as well, though, Matisse. It might be delusion, but
no, you're a good team, man. You guys were high flying. Do you know what I mean? You are high flying in the league. I know it's been two defeats, but it's not like as if you've been whooped or battered or anything. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Well, bro, thank you for joining me. Let the people know where to find you. It's been a pleasure as always, man.
Thank you. No, thanks for having me on. So the podcast that we do, Brighton channel, is Seagull Social on YouTube, and then Twitter and Instagram. And then my personal, if you do want to follow, is Ben Spalding. Just easy as.
There you go, guys. Well, make sure you follow up. The links will be in the description. And let's get back to the Chelsea side of things. Big up.
Okay, guys, welcome back. So let's get into this. My team for the game against Brighton. Now, there's 2 alarming things in that opposition analysis for me that we need to make sure that we deal with. One is the midfield overload, potentially them playing a 2 double pivot and another 2 with 2 attacking midfielders and making it a 4, making it a square. That is a problem. That is something that we don't want to be outnumbered in midfield to the point where it's 2v3s and 3v4s. So we want to make sure that we can match them in there. The other issue is Trossard. Trossard is on form. He scored at the Etihad. He's a fantastic finisher with both feet. He's causing problems. He's been their player of the season, it seems, so far. Those are the 2 areas for me that we've got to keep an eye out on. I do think we should be able to control Danny Welbeck, despite the fact that he scored at Stamford Bridge last season from a Cucurella cross. I was at the game, bear with me, still hurting. So, this is the team I'm going with. Kepa in goal. I'm sticking with Kepa. In the back 3, now it seems like Silva is touch and go. We don't know. If he's available, I would play him. If he's not available, then of course we can't. So I'm just going to pretend that he's not available, and you would know that if he was, I would use him. But let's say he's not. For argument's sake, let's say he's not available. We can't risk him, and we need to look after him, which we do. Azpilicueta, Trevor, and Cucurella. That's the only really options we have left in a back 3. Now, we can't play a back 4 with any of those centre-backs because it's only Trevor that's a traditional centre-back, so we have to play a back 3. Now, I don't like that because there's a lack of height and aerial dominance in that back 3. However, that is literally all we have left as everybody else is injured. Koulibaly's not ready. So, wing-backs, I'm going with Ruben Loftus-Cheek to add some height into the team for the set pieces, and I'm going with Christian Pulisic because I feel like he's in form. Now, I'm going with Loftus-Cheek for 2 reasons. I want him to be able to help Azpilicueta deal with Trossard. And the second reason is I want him to be able to tuck into midfield and help Kovacic and Jorginho, who I'm going to play in a double pivot. So you've got the Trossard situation on that left, and you've also got the fact that he can tuck in and give you that 3-man midfield that Jorginho has done well in, to be honest, when he's had the opportunity to have a 3rd man in there, whether it be against Salzburg with Gallagher or whether it be against Manchester United with Kovacic. Whenever we've moved an extra man into midfield, Jorginho has looked better. So that's why I want to get Loftus-Cheek in there at the right wing-back spot. He can carry the ball, help us on transitions, hopefully maybe try and pin Trossard back and make sure that they're not always on the attack, but he's got enough experience at right wing back in this season to play there and hopefully give us a better attacking outlet going forward than Azpilicueta would. And like I said, the height. Now I'm playing Gallagher and Mount also because again, I don't want us to be in a situation where we're bypassed in midfield, where we're overloaded, and these 2 will get back and help cover and Jorginho and make it a box 4. So we shouldn't get outnumbered in midfield. They understand their roles. Gallagher's very good at pulling off to the right, getting crosses into the box. He can combine with Loftus-Cheek and they can switch over. They can switch around. If Loftus-Cheek bombs forward and wants to get into the attacking third, then Gallagher can play in his position, make it a 3 in midfield alongside Cover and Jorginho and help those wide right areas and defend and be very responsible. And they can switch. Mason Mount can drop in as well. He for me, has to start. You know, we rested him in midweek. I know Kai played very well, but for me, this is a fixture where I just need a little bit more guarantee in terms of performance. So I'm going with Mason Mount in there. It's a big game, and he does usually try and step up in those big games. So he plays for me. And like I said, tactically, he knows, he can understand that he has to get back in there as well and make it a 3-man midfield. If Gallagher was to push forward in a press, and want to press from the front, Mason can go and drop in. And I like those two, I think, playing together. We saw it at home to Wolves. They can interchange. Mason is very comfortable going on the wide right and maybe combining with a wing back like Loftus-Cheek and making those crosses from the right position as well. And Gallagher come in central and press from central areas. They can swap over. So I just think when you play Ruben, you play Mount, you play Gallagher, you play cover, you just give Jorginho so much cover from a mobility standpoint, so much protection from a mobility standpoint, and hopefully then that stops Pascal Gross, it stops Lallana, it stops these, you know, Caicedo, McAllister, all these guys from having time and space and getting in between the lines and causing problems. We're coming up against a very difficult midfield, so for me, you have to match it with a lot of midfielders that are versatile, able to take up each other's positions if anybody gets caught out in transition or anybody pushes the limits in an attacking sense. And I think you cover and legislate for everybody that way. And then on the left, I'm going Pulisic. Like I said, he's the advanced attacking wing back, basically winger, and he comes into the front two if you go into a 3-5-2 off the ball and you push all those midfielders and flood them in, you know, and you can make it compact if you need to be off the ball, and you push Pulisic up top with Armando Broja in a front two. And like I said, 3-3-3-1 under normal circumstances when we have the ball. You've got Ruben, you've got Cover, Jorginho in a midfield three, you've got Gallagher, Mount, Pulisic in an attacking midfield area, and you've got Broja up front. So Mason Mount's got all the passing options, same as Kai did around him, to pick them out, to pass, to show that kind of performance. And then you've got Pulisic, who for me is in form, is taking on players and played very well in midweek, created the goal for Kai. And in the first 20 minutes, I thought he was our best player. So I think he deserves to start. You've got Sterling on the bench, you've got Kai on the bench, you've got Aubameyang on the bench. That's what I'd go with. A Broja up top, pressing, relentlessly giving that energy and going up against Duncan Webster. It's a big test. Let me know what your team is in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of, you know, the Brighton expected team, the threats, my team, your team. What would you put? Big up your damn selves. In a bit, people. Peace. Smash up all the likes and leave them comments. Let's get this algorithm gang going. Bang!